Dear students, good morning. Myself Dr. Ganesh Prasad Behera, Founder Chairman, UTKAL International School, Chaudhar, Cuttack. Students, today we will here discuss about the chapter Forest and Wildlife Resources from class 10 Geography. Dear students, we have different type of resources on our surrounding, and if we consider forest and wildlife resources, it is a very important and very valuable thing for our ecosystem and our living surrounding. So, dear students, forests are an important resources for any country, very important resources for any country. If we consider forest is a very important resources for any country. They not only provide a habitat, forest provide us habitat, it is a very important thing to the various organisms, a habitat place for their safety, but also a primary producers of all resources on which all other living being depend, and not only give shelter to the habitants, to provide habitat to various organisms, but produce all resources with all other living being depend. We are depend upon the forest, and other animals also depend on where? Forest. Dear students, flora and fauna in India. Dear students, you know, India is known for its richest biodiversity. You know, India has a richest biodiversity because the term biodiversity is used to describe various life forms which are found on the earth. Okay, from earth we found the various life which is known as biodiversity. Dear students, this includes flora and fauna and various ecosystems in which species live or depend on one another. Species, different types of organisms depends one another for living. Dear students, you know, now day to day deforestation, cutting of forest, remove of jungles, the demand for hides and horns of animals and for medicinal plants and commercialization, etc. Many species of plants and animals are on the verge of extinction at present. They are vanished stage. They are not reproducing, and they are on the ending process. Our next generation can found or see such type of animals. Dear students, according to their present numbers, now their existing numbers, various species of plants and animals can be categorized or discussed. We discuss on the above chapter. We will discuss. Dear students, one of the main thing is normal spaces. Normal spaces. Dear students, those spaces, what are the normal spaces? Dear students, those spaces whose numbers are considered normal for their survival are known as normal spaces. Normal spaces. Okay. Some examples are sal, pine, and cattle. Okay, these are the considered under normal spaces. Those spaces whose numbers are considered normal for their survival are known as normal spaces. Dear students, clear? So, examples are sal tree, pine tree, and kettles. Dear students, another species is extinct species. Extinct species. Dear student, extinct species are those species of plants and animals which can be found in the wild or in captivity in areas where they may occur. It is very important thing. Extinct species are those species of plants and animals which can be found in the wild, okay, in the wild or in captivity in areas where they may occur. Okay, dear students, for example, in the cheetahs in India and the dodo birds in the world have become extinct. Okay, they are losses, they are species. Then the main species is endangered species. Okay, dear students, species which are facing a grave threat to their lives, their life is under threat and are in danger of becoming extinct. They are at the end stage. Okay, so are known as endangered species. Blackbuck and Indian rhino are example of such species. Then, dear students, another important species is vulnerable species. Dear students, these species can become endangered if positive steps are not taken to improve their numbers, but they are now on existing stage. But precautions required to develop and improve their numbers. Dear students, desert fox and elephants are example of such species. We have to care, we have to work to improve their numbers. Then, dear students, another important species is species which are rare species. It is a rare species. Dear students, species which are very uncommon or scarce in numbers, okay, scarce in numbers are called rare species. Dear students, they can become vulnerable or endangered if their number continue to decline. Okay, if their number continue to decline, then they are considered under the rare species. Okay, and some example is buffalo, hornbill and desert fox, also covered under rare species. Dear students, another important species is endemic species. Dear students, you know these kinds of species are only found at a particular region. They are found on a particular region, range or location in the world, in a particular region or range in the world. Dear students, Andaman wild pig and Nicobar pigeon are example of such species. Then, dear students, the important thing is factors leading to the depletion of flora and fauna. Okay, dear students, you know different factors leading the flora and fauna. Dear students, factors which have contributed to the decline in various species of plants and animals. What are the factors? What are the factors to decline the species, the areas of the animals, the different category or types of animals, why they are declined? Dear students, the main reason is the Indian forests were greatly damaged during the colonial periods where Britishers are ruled India near about 1750 to 1947, 200 years. The British brought many areas under cultivation on to earn revenues. Okay, the aim of the Britishers to focus on the cultivation to earn revenues. So the expansion of railways led to destruction of huge forests, and reckless minings and commercial forestry have further led to the destruction of the forest. First one is for big projects, railway projects by the Britishers. They removed, they cut the big forest and they focus on commercial plantation or commercial forestry, for which they destroy the natural forests. And dear students, another main reason for decline of plants and animals is in the post-independent period, after independence, that is 1947, the expansion of cultivation continued. Our population is growing on a huge rate, so we depend upon food. So for food, people's focus on cultivation. So dear students, this is also led to the destruction of forest. Okay, cultivation. If we focus on cultivation, so we cut, we remove the forest, and consequently the depletion of various species. Okay, we interfere, we remove the forest after independence, we go for bigger cultivation, so we remove forest, so it is decline the species of the different plants and animals. And dear students, another important point for decline of forest and wildlife is, dear students, many river valley projects have resulted in the loss of forest land. If we grow height of the dam and construct new reservoirs, so water submerge the forest areas. For example, dear students, Narmada Sagar project in Madhya Pradesh has resulted in the reduction of forest cover on the region. Narmada project, which is on the Madhya Pradesh, and due to that project, the near of the forest area is submerged by the water, and it declines the forest area and wildlife also. And dear students, another main reason for decline the various species of plants and animals is, dear students, uncontrolled mining has resulted in deforestation. Mining, when we go for big minings, we clear the forest for digging of the minings. So government focus on minings, and the uncontrolled mining and unmanaged mining resulted deforestation. Dear students, mining not only disturbs the habitats, it is a very important thing. It is not only disturb the habitats or many species, but also blocks the migration route of several animals. Migration. If we dig big wells, big mining areas, so animals are blocked on a small areas. They can migrate, they cannot move one place to another place freely. So dear students, for example, dolomite mining are threatened the tigers in the Buxa Tiger Reserve in West Bengal. Due to mining, tiger reserve is squeezed they are not migrated. Dear students, according to many environmentalists, the collection of fuel wood and the grazing of animals have also depleted the forest ecosystem. It is destroyed the forest ecosystem, because everything is required. Plant is required, animal is required, human being is required. But if there is any disturbance, so whole ecosystem will be disturbed. So dear students, and if we discuss factors leading to the decline of the India's biodiversity and environmental destruction. What are the factors? What are the factors which affect decline the India's biodiversity and environmental destruction? So dear students, first one is hunting and poaching, hunting of the animals. Okay, and the second one is, dear students, forest fires. It is created by the human being, or sometime it is also done naturally. And another one is over exploitation of the resources, overuse of the resources. It destroys our ecosystem. And dear students, another thing is unequal distribution of the resources. Unequal resources are not distributed equally. And another main important thing which creates biodiversity in India and environmental destruction is environmental pollution. Dear students, human being is sole responsibility to create environmental pollution. And another main thing is habitat destruction. Dear students, dear students, habitat destruction is the main part to create biodiversity and environmental destruction. Dear students, after that, we all are responsibility and for care our environment. So conservation of forest and wildlife in India is a very important things for our nation, for our biodiversity and for our ecosystem. Dear students, conservation is vital since it will help us to protect our environment and protect our ecosystem, which is turn helps to preserve the genetic diversity that the ecosystem has. We have to maintain what? We have maintained the ecosystem. We have to conservation is vital. Where? From whom? From since to help us protect our environment. It is the everyone's responsibility to protect our environment and protect our ecosystem, which it turns helps to preserve the genetic diversity. Okay, and dear students, it's a very important things that government is the thinking it seriously. So the Indian Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 by the Indian government, which made various provisions for protecting habitats. It is a very serious law to protect the habitats. And dear students, the central government also announced several projects for protecting specific animals. It is a very serious issue which the central government also announced several projects for protecting specific animals which were gravely threatened, including tiger. It is to cover, to protect tiger and one rhino and the three types of crocodiles: freshwater crocodile, saltwater crocodile and the gharial are some of the animals which is declared or the project to specific to protect the some habitats. Dear students, the under the Wildlife Act after 1972, another act is amended which is known as Wildlife Act in 1980, and then it is amended in 1986. Several hundred moths, beetles and other dangerously have been added in the list of protected species. Some another animals also added in the protected species. Dear students, the government has also provided partial or full legal protection to animals such as Indian elephants, black buck, and snow leopard to protect them from extinction. We have to work to survive before they have to extinction. Then dear students, you have see forest, you have also visit different type of forest. So a question will arise on your mind that types of forest in India. Dear students, forest in India are controlled by the Indian Forest Department. All forests are under the Indian Forest Department, which are divided forest into different categories. So what are the different categories? Dear students, first one is reserved forest. A question will arise on your mind. What is reserved forest? Dear students, in India, more than half of the total forest land has been declared as reserve forest. Reserve forest. In our India, more than half of the total forest, if the forest is 100%, so 50% forest is declared as reserve forest. And another type of forest is protected forest. What is the protected forest? Dear students, protected forests are protected from any further destruction of forest cover. Protected, they should not be destructed. No man can cut a tree or decline the forest environment. It is known as protected forest. And dear students, third one is unclassed forest. Dear students, this class of forest include the forest and wetlands which are owned by the government, acquired by the government, privately or joined by communities. Unclassed forest, everyone is responsible. That is owned by the government, but private is involved there and by the communities. Communities means the people which are living the surrounding of the forest. Dear students, reserved and protected forest as known as permanent forest. Madhya Pradesh has the largest area under permanent forest. Okay, it is known as the reserve and protected forest is also known as permanent forest. Permanent forest. In our India, only the state Madhya Pradesh has largest area under permanent forest. So dear students, before that we have discussed biodiversity. Dear students, what is biodiversity? Students, biodiversity is the variety of life found on the earth. Okay, biodiversity means biodiversity is the variety of life found on the earth. Dear students, an ecosystem which has rich biodiversity, if there is a proper ecosystem, so it will create rich biodiversity as several species of plants and animals which are closely connected to each other through biotic and abiotic factors. Okay, it is the main factor of the biodiversity. Dear students, biodiversity helps in boosting the productivity of the ecosystem. It is the main issue. It boosts the ecosystem in which each species plays an important role. Every species has an important role. For example, dear students, a large number of plant species, dear students, remember, a large number of plant species results in greater varieties of crops. We found the better varieties of the crops. Similarly, dear students, many microorganisms play an important role in biodiversity, Students, they fertilize the soil. Okay, the microorganisms, what do they occur? Dear students, they fertilize the soil and play a role in recycling of many minerals. They play a vital role for recycling the minerals. Dear students, in the environment, this helps in improving human lives. Okay, they doing their work on ecobiosystem, that they improve the human lives. Dear students, conservation of forest and wildlife in India, it is a very important issue. We discussed what are the factors covered under conservation of forest and wildlife in India. Dear students, efforts of the government towards protecting forest and wildlife in India. Efforts, what are the efforts by the government? Dear students, in 1972, the Indian Wildlife Act was passed. Okay, I have discussed it before, and in this act in 1972, Indian government passed an act which is known as Wildlife Act. In this act, various provisions were made to preserve the endangered species of animals by banning hunting. Main thing is banning hunting and restricting trade in wildlife and providing legal protection to wildlife habitats, a protection to the habitats, and ban on hunting. Dear students, after this law, as a result, many wildlife sanctuaries and national parks were established by the state and the central government to preserve the habitat of many wild animals, to preserve, to protect the different wild animals. And dear students, many animals such as tigers and one-horned rhinos and saltwater crocodile, blackbuck and snow leopard have been given protection against hunting and trading in the country and the state law. Okay, so many animals, which animals cover? Tiger, rhinos, saltwater crocodile and snow leopards are banned on hunting, okay, and trading in the country. Dear students, many conservation projects by the government are now focusing on the preservation of the biodiversity of the country. Okay, it is a very important issue. Government is working to preserve the biodiversity of the country, rather just protecting certain species of plants and animals. For protect the certain species of plants and animals to improve the biodiversity. Dear students, role of communities towards conservation. You know, dear students, if human being will not aware, if peoples are not working towards nature, so we cannot success the conservation of the forest and wildlife. Dear students, in India, apart from the government and the forest department, various communities have played an important role in conserving and protecting forest. They are working, some people, some organizations are working to protect the forest and protect the forest and animals. Dear students, a good movement, a well-known movement, that is Chipko Andolan, or known as Chipko movement, was an example of communities coming together to save forest from the reckless fellings by private contractors. Chipko, people are putting the or hugging the plants to save it from the cutters or from the contractors or the private parties who are interested to cutting the trees. And dear students, another important or a leading part is that conservation of forest by tribals and village communities. Tribals and village communities, they are planted trees, they are care the forest, and many forest areas are considered by these communities by name. The forest is known by the surrounding communities. We are take care of that forest, and any kind of activity or human interference in these patches of forest is banned, strictly banned. No other party will enter that area. So, dear students, in Sariska Tiger Reserve, Rajasthan, villagers have fought against, they fight against mining by Wildlife Protection Act. They fight, they are against the mining to protect the tigers, okay, reserve in Sariska Tiger Reserve, which is located in Rajasthan. Nearby peoples of that forest, they are fight against the mining, okay, and at least also they got their good result. And their students, Mahua is worshipped by Mundas and Santals of Chota Nagpur region. Mahua, it is a flower of the ped, okay, and it is basically found in Santal, and it is used by Mundas and Santalas of Chota Nagpur region. Dear students, while mango are worshipped by the tribes of Odisha, on our Odisha we have worshipped the mango trees, and Bihar during weddings, okay, we are using the mango tree, the fruit, okay, and the leaf of the mango tree in Bihar and Odisha at the time of marriage, and in Hindu society, okay. So people tree is also considered sacred, also people tree as an important, which people is used for puja, so it is protected by the peoples. And dear students, another main thing is blackbuck, peacocks and nilgai are seen in the interior part of the Bishnoi villages in Rajasthan are not harmed or killed. They are attached the system, ecosystem, they are attached the peoples of the Bishnoi societies in Rajasthan. So no one can kill, or the animals also not harm to the local peoples. And dear students, another important thing, that is Bij Bachao Andolan in Tehri and Navdanya has promoted peoples to stop using synthetic chemicals. It is a very important issue which create the environment pollution. So Bij Bachao Andolan, okay, and sufficient crop harvest can be produced even without the use of chemical fertilizers, okay. Natural cropping, okay, are encouraged by the local peoples, and they adopted the peoples to save the environment. And dear students, another important thing is joint forest management. So dear students, it is a program in India which involves local communities in the management of forest lands. I have told you, local is the joint forest management. Local peoples or communities are engaged at the management of the forest lands. Dear students, in this program, local village communities undertake management of degraded parts of forest which are managed by the forest department. Local peoples are involved, they are doing good jobs to improve the forest. Dear students, in return for their help, for the help of the local peoples, the communities are allowed to have share in non-timber and timber products which are harvested by the joint efforts of the local communities. They have found some share on the timber products, okay, the forest department share some shares to the communities who are involved. And dear students, Odisha was the first state in India to pass the joint forest management program. Our state Odisha is the first state which pass a law for joint forest management program. So dear students, it is a not a chapter, it is a very essential thing for our day to day life. So dear students, these are all about your chapter forest and wildlife resources. So here we discuss different types of species, the areas of the animals. So one is normal species, another is extinct species, endangered species, vulnerable species and rare species. Dear students, what are the factors leading to the decline of the various species of plants and animals we have discussed here. And another main thing is what are the factors leading to the decline of the India's biodiversity and environmental destruction. Under this point we have discussed, first one is hunting and poaching, forest fires, over exploitation of the resources, unequal distribution of resources, environmental pollution and habitat destruction. And we discussed the important part, conservation of forest and wildlife in India. So dear students, then we have discussed type of forest in India, that is reserve forest, protected forest and unclassified forest. And main thing is biodiversity and different laws and the effort of the government towards protecting forest and wildlife in India. And lastly, we discuss role of communities towards conservation. So dear students, now today is the 2nd July. You know, from 1st July on our country celebrated the Bono Mahotsav. So dear students, for protection of forest and wildlife, I appeal all the peoples of my nation to plant a tree and care a tree to the end of your life, and which helps to grade and to helpful to our further society and the further generation, and we will the part of the protection of the forest and wildlife. Dear students, this is all about your chapter. Lastly, once again thank you all of you, and myself Dr. Ganesh Prasad Behera, founder chairman, UTKAL International School, Chaudhar, Cuttack. Jai Jagannath.